My name is Josh Hartman,
And I'm Chris Bailey.
and we're doing the Debating Alaska's Fiscal Future competition. This will be our submission. Our topic is whether to cap the PFD or not.
Thank you. Honorable panel, the PFD was created out of a constitutional amendment in 1976 by Governor J. Hammond. Its purpose was to benefit the Alaskan people both then and in the future, but the PFD can't benefit anyone if it ceases to exist in the next 4 years. I have 2 points. First, capping it will guarantee longevity for the people of Alaska, and second, that continued stable existence will promote business growth, which will help all of our communities. My first point, capping the PFD to $1,000 will guarantee longevity. Looking at the next 18 years, if we take an example of an Alaskan born today, with the cap, by the time they graduate high school, they will have $18,000 saved for college or whatever they go on to next. Without the cap, that number would drop to only $8,000 because although they would be getting more money each year, they would only be getting the money for 4 years. Reducing the amount of the PFD would be hard on people as they do expect and budget for this money every year. However, tightening your budget by $1,000 is hard, but tightening it by $2,000 is harder. And the opposition's plan, it's important to know or note, does not mitigate the problem, it only delays it. So while people would continue to have $2,000 for the next few years, it would then drop to zero. Additionally, the original PFD payout plan did include a $1,000 cap, and that was changed over the years as the PFD was restructured. But it is worthwhile to note that it's not a new idea to limit it, and that was part of the original vision for the PFD as it was created. Additionally, the current method of basing it on the oil market is risky because the oil market is unpredictable and not subject to normal market forces. Specifically, it's controlled by OPEC, which is a foreign, artificial, non-democratic cartel, which arbitrarily changes the price of oil at their whims, which is a dangerous thing to set the future of Alaska on. For my second point, capping the PFD to a sustainable level will encourage business growth. Businesses currently count on every resident of Alaska to have an influx of cash at the same time every year. And they plan and market around that. For example, auto dealers and electronics dealers and other Alaskan businesses which sell expensive products will specifically market every year PFD sales and bonuses and benefits for people to get that money, which both benefits them and the people who work for them and helps funnel money into our Alaskan communities, which benefits all of us. In summary, the opposition wants to burn all of the money for instant gratification, which will be great for the next few years and then be a disaster after that point. And our plan requires some temporary pain now to continue its existence far into the future. It's framed as simply more money versus less money, but in reality, it's less now so that it continues existing in the future and will be more for all of us in the long run. Honorable panel, we ask you to stand with us in securing a stable future for both current residents and the future children of Alaska. Thank you.
We believe that the government has certain duties like protecting the rights of its citizens. In Alaska, the Permanent Fund Dividend, or the PFD, is an extension of Alaskans' rights. If the government were to cap or put a limit on how much free speech you had every day, it would seem absurd and Orwellian, and that's the same situation we're dealing with here. I'll explain it with 3 points, the first of which being that the PFD is a right of the citizens, the second that capping the PFD makes investments risky, and the third being that citizens budget with their PFD, and it's very important for their well-being. To start off, I'll talk about the rights of the citizens. In other states, citizens have private ownership of the minerals and resources of the land that they own. This is not true in Alaska. According to the Alaska State Constitution, the government owns all of the resources and minerals. In this way, the PFD acts as a payment toward the citizens for the use of these resources and minerals, and is rightfully owned by Alaskans. Governor Walker's restructuring of the PFD isn't representative of the views of Alaskans who own the PFD and should have a say in the decisions about it. One body that is more representative of Alaskans is the Alaska State Legislature, which does not support capping the PFD. Secondly, capping the PFD makes investments risky. When Governor Walker uses the veto power to change the PFD, he's changing something that has been constant in the Alaska State Constitution for 40 years. Capping the PFD tells investors that Alaska is closing down for business, and it's making it more difficult for its citizens and communities to be open to economic opportunity. It shows that Alaska is willing to back out on promises like the PFD, which has been in the state constitution for 40 years. You can imagine an entrepreneur who might be interested in investing in Alaska, but is nervous about the policy changes undergoing in its government. Thirdly, citizens budget with the PFD and use it to alleviate their bills, especially with skyrocketing prices of living. Capping the PFD will disproportionately affect people of lower income brackets because the PFD makes up a larger portion of their average income. You can imagine a family of 4 who might get $9,000, $8,000 with the PFD uncapped, but will only get $4,000 with the PFD capped. This $4,000 to $5,000 could mean a lot, especially in times with working class families if they need money for rent. And the proposition may tell you that the people of Alaska will get the same benefits with the PFD capped, but that's not true for all Alaskans. Homeless Alaskans might not be able to make it through the winter without the full amount of the PFD, and for them it could very much be a decision of life or death. Honorable panel, the proposition side would have you believe that the PFD will run out permanently. However, the price of oil, like any resource, is subject to boom and bust cycles. Even just this month, OPEC signed an agreement to curb its output, and the price of oil has been edging up. If history and economics is any indicator, you would expect that the PFD will grow even more in the future. We've shown that capping the PFD would set a precedent that Alaska is limiting its economic opportunities, and capping might be an attempt to save up for posterity, but really it hurts the people who need it most. On our side, we value the lives of our citizens, and if one student is able to afford their student loans, or one family is able to afford rent, or one homeless man is able to make it through the winter, we would think that that investment is worthwhile for us to make. Thank you.